What is happening to me?
So I just watched the new Brand New Day trailer 3 times in a row. And every single time, I noticed something new. Something small. Something that made me stop and think, wait, that doesn't add up. Because Marvel is doing that thing again. You know the thing. Where the trailers show you just enough to get you excited, but the actual movie turns out to be completely different from what you expected. They did it with No Way Home. Not a single trailer showed Toby or Andrew. Not one. And then opening night happened and the whole internet lost its mind. So trust me when I say, what we're seeing in these Brand New Day trailers is probably not the full picture. Not even close. Let me walk you through the 6 things that really stood out to me. Point 6. The tech is still there. Everyone keeps saying this movie is going back to basics. Street-level Spider-Man. No Stark tech. Just Peter and his webs. And yeah, that's mostly true. But mostly, because if you look carefully at one of the action scenes, Peter is actually using some kind of targeting system built inside his suit. It helps him lock onto a helicopter before he makes his move. Easy to miss, but it's definitely there. Now before anyone gets worried, this is not Iron Spider 2.0. Spider-Man has had gadgets like this in the comics for a long time. The Insomniac games had them too, so it fits the character perfectly. And the expressive eyes on the suit are staying as well. Which honestly, thank you Marvel. That suit is already so close to the original Steve Ditko design, and keeping those moving lenses was absolutely the right decision. Point 5. The organic webbing is out of control. This one genuinely surprised me. Peter has organic webbing in this movie. We already knew that. But what the trailer is now showing us is how completely out of control it is. This is not him learning a cool new skill and mastering it in a training montage. This webbing is unpredictable. In one shot it rips his mechanical web shooters clean off his wrists. In another he is swinging across the city, but he is not really in control. The webbing is pulling him faster than he is ready for. And then there is the pigeon moment. He accidentally catches a pigeon mid-swing. Which sounds funny but actually tells you a lot. This guy does not have a grip on what is happening to his own body right now. And that web tornado at the very end of the trailer? That is not a cool victory moment. That looks like someone barely surviving their own power. Point 4. What is Sadie Sink actually doing here? Now let's talk about Sadie Sink. Marvel has said almost nothing about her character. Sony too. Total silence. Which already tells you that whatever she is doing in this movie, they really do not want us figuring it out before release. But the trailer gives us clues. She is wearing a green and yellow hood. And if you follow the X-Men comics even a little bit, those are Jean Grey colors. That is not a coincidence. Her powers also look very psychic. She sends out this energy wave across New York and freezes people completely. It looks very similar to what Professor X did in the older Fox X-Men films. There is even a shimmer to the energy that reminded me of that Charles Xavier scene in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Here is my honest take though. She is probably not the real villain here. Because bringing Jean Grey into the MCU just to make her a straightforward bad guy would be such a waste of the character. My feeling is she is being controlled or forced into this somehow. And whatever she is doing to Peter, his spider sense cannot even detect it, which is a very scary detail. Point 3. Peter is falling and nobody is explaining why. There is one shot in this trailer that I keep returning to. Peter Parker, no suit, no webbing, just falling through the New York sky. No setup, no explanation, just falling. And the first thing I thought was, is this even real? Is this actually happening, or is this what Jean is making him experience inside his own head? Because if she can freeze an entire city block with a psychic wave, she can absolutely mess with one person's sense of reality. What if parts of Peter's transformation, the black eyes, the overwhelming new powers, what if some of that is being created in his mind by her? That would be a really bold story direction. And it would explain why some scenes in the trailer feel slightly off in a way that is hard to describe. There is also another possibility worth mentioning. Tombstone has become a serious and underestimated threat to Spider-Man in recent comics. Throwing Peter off a building is honestly not out of the question for that character. Point 2. Watch Peter's wrists very carefully. This detail requires you to pay close attention throughout the trailer. Sometimes Peter is wearing the mechanical web shooters. Sometimes he is not. That makes sense. Organic webbing means he does not always need them anymore. But then there is one specific scene that changes the conversation entirely. During the fight with the Hulk, and yes, there is a Hulk fight in this movie, Peter is wearing both mechanical web shooters on his wrists. Now think about when that fight probably happens in the story. A confrontation with the Hulk does not feel like an opening scene. That feels like a mid or late movie moment. Big stakes. Major clash. So either the organic webbing develops much later in the film than we think, or at some point it stops working and Peter has to fall back on the old shooters. That second idea is much more interesting to me. What if the transformation builds and then completely collapses? What if at the worst possible moment Peter loses everything and has to rely on just himself? That would make for a really strong story, honestly. Point 1. Is this actually a symbiote story? And here is where things get genuinely fascinating. There has been a quiet but persistent rumor for months that the symbiote, the alien suit, is somehow connected to Brand New Day. Marvel has been pushing this idea that Peter is going through a physical transformation. New powers, black eyes, something changing inside him from the inside out. But what if that is not what is really happening? What if the black eyes are the symbiote? Think about where Peter is emotionally right now. He has pulled back from being a hero. He is disconnected. He is struggling. That is exactly the kind of person the symbiote is drawn to. It finds the weak points and it settles in. And the power spikes we are seeing in the trailer, the web tornado, the uncontrolled strength, the way everything feels slightly wrong, that honestly tracks more with a symbiote story than a mutation story. How it gets introduced could go several ways. Maybe Scorpion bonds with it first and uses it against Peter. Maybe the Department of Damage Control has been studying it as a weapon. There are multiple doors that lead to the same place. But if Marvel has spent all this time making us think we are watching a transformation story when it is actually a symbiote story, that would honestly be one of the smartest marketing moves they have ever pulled off. So after all of that, I genuinely do not think we know what this movie actually is yet. And I have to say, that feeling is exciting. It has been a while since a Marvel movie felt this unpredictable going in. Brand New Day hits theaters this July and I cannot wait to see how wrong or right all of this turns out to be. What do you think is really going on? Is the symbiote involved? Is Sadie Sink playing Jean Grey? And what is actually happening to Peter Parker? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. If you want a full breakdown the moment the next trailer drops, hit subscribe because we will be covering it right away. See you in the next one.